Chupacabra. I grew up in a small town in rural Texas, a place where the nights were vast and empty, and the land stretched out in every direction under a sky filled with countless stars. It was a peaceful, albeit isolated life. Our nearest neighbors were miles away, and the only sounds at night were the cries of coyotes and the whisper of the wind through the tall grass. My family owned a modest ranch, and we tended to our livestock with care. Every morning, my father and I would rise before dawn to feed the animals and ensure everything was in order. It was a routine that provided comfort and a sense of stability in our quiet corner of the world. But one summer, that tranquility was shattered. It began with whispers among the local farmers, stories of a strange creature stalking the night. Livestock were found dead, drained of blood with no explanation. Some said it was a predator, a coyote or a wildcat. Others spoke in hushed tones about the Chupacabra, a legendary creature said to drink the blood of animals. I didn't believe in such nonsense. Monsters were for campfire tales, not real life. But as the weeks passed, the reports grew more frequent, and the unease settled over our town like a heavy fog. One night, as I lay in bed, I heard a noise outside, a faint rustling, like something moving through the grass. I dismissed it as the wind or a stray animal and tried to sleep, but the noise persisted, growing louder and more insistent. Finally, curiosity got the better of me, and I slipped out of bed, careful not to wake my parents. I crept to the window and peered out into the darkness. The moon cast a pale glow over the ranch, illuminating the shapes of our barns and fences. At first, I saw nothing unusual, but then, near the edge of the property, I saw it. A shadowy figure moving stealthily through the grass. My heart pounded in my chest as I tried to make sense of what I was seeing. The figure was small and hunched, moving with an unnatural grace. It paused near the chicken coop, and I could see its eyes, glowing with an eerie red light. Fear rooted me to the spot, but I couldn't look away. The creature crept closer to the coop, and in the silence of the night I heard a low, guttural growl. My breath caught in my throat as the creature leaped onto the coop, moving with a speed and agility that defied belief. I ran to my father's room, shaking him awake. "Dad, there's something outside," I whispered urgently. He groggily followed me to the window, and I pointed to the coop. "Look there, do you see it?" My father squinted into the darkness, and I could see the doubt in his eyes. But then the creature moved again, and his expression changed to one of alarm. "Stay here," he said, grabbing his rifle from the closet. "Lock the door behind me." I watched in fear as he headed outside, his silhouette barely visible in the moonlight. He moved cautiously, keeping the rifle ready. I held my breath, praying that he would be safe. As my father approached the coop, the creature turned to face him. Even from a distance, I could see the malice in its glowing eyes. It let out a blood-curdling screech and lunged at my father with incredible speed. The rifle fired, the sound echoing across the ranch. For a moment, everything went silent. Then, my father yelled, and the creature vanished into the night, leaving behind a scene of chaos. I ran outside to find my father standing over the coop, breathing heavily. The chickens were in disarray, some of them dead, their bodies marked by strange wounds. My father examined the damage, his face grim. "It's the Chupacabra," he said quietly. "The stories are true." In the following days, the attacks grew more frequent. Livestock across the town were found dead, drained of blood with no sign of how it had been done. The townsfolk grew more fearful, and rumors spread like wildfire. Some people even reported seeing the creature during the day, lurking at the edge of the forest. One evening, as the sun set and cast long shadows over the land, my father gathered a group of men from the town. They were determined to hunt down the Chupacabra and put an end to the terror. Armed with rifles and flashlights, they set out into the woods, their faces set with grim determination. I wanted to go with them, but my father insisted I stay behind to protect my mother and sister. I watched them disappear into the trees, a sense of dread settling over me. The night stretched on, and the hours passed with agonizing slowness. I sat by the window, listening to every sound, my mind racing with fear. Suddenly, a scream pierced the night, followed by the crack of gunfire. My heart leaped into my throat as I strained to see what was happening. Shadows moved among the trees and the sounds of the struggle echoed through the darkness. Then I saw it, the Chupacabra, emerging from the woods. It moved with terrifying speed, heading straight for the house. I grabbed a kitchen knife, the only weapon I had, and stood in front of the door, my hands shaking. The creature reached the porch, its red eyes glowing with hunger. It let out a low growl and I felt a surge of terror. But before it could attack, a shot rang out, and the Chupacabra stumbled. My father emerged from the trees, his rifle smoking, and fired again. The creature let out a final screech and collapsed, its body twitching before going still. We approached it cautiously, my father keeping his rifle trained on the creature. Up close, it was even more horrifying. Its skin was rough and leathery, its teeth sharp and blood-stained. It looked like something out of a nightmare. The townsfolk gathered around, their faces pale with fear and relief. The Chupacabra was dead, but the scars it left on our community would take time to heal. We buried the creature deep in the woods, hoping to lay the legend to rest once and for all. But even now, years later, I can't forget the sight of those glowing red eyes, the feeling of being watched from the darkness. The Chupacabra may be gone, but the fear it brought remains, a reminder that sometimes the monsters in our stories are real, and they walk among us, waiting for the night to fall.